We do not want to be moved. These are our homes. Instead, let us make this place livable, pleasant, like a big family of human beings living in harmony and peace. Those are the first thoughts that came. Why move? Why fight? Why argue? It's obvious. We want our homes. That's all we're asking for.
Oh, we are saved. Lincoln Place. How you doing? To me, this is a hoot because we're all working for the same thing. Why should we be fighting each other?
Well, that's like to save our home instead of tearing down.
It isn't your home, it belongs to somebody else. But it's only a Lincoln's, darling. We shall
for his
overcome.
Many of us have lived here 20, 30, and more years. We know there's a big profit made from our rent. But it doesn't stay here. It's used to speculate or to pay debts by our landlords for other investments they have. Why can't we use the profits from our rents to really take good care of this place and make people of all nationalities, all colors, all languages prove that we can live in harmony, in genuine neighborly friendship?
I'll give it to you in a minute, Pink.
This is Joan Seckler reporting for KPFK. I'm here in Venice at the Lincoln Place Apartments, where owner Transaction Corporation has just announced plans to demolish this 795-unit complex and replace this complex with 800 luxury condos and 50 low-income apartments. How do you feel about the owner's plans?
I love even our little laundry rooms are nice. They're, well kept and everything. And he would have to smash 100 buildings, which is terrible.
For me, this place is affordable for my family. We are a low-income family, and my husband is disabled, and we are being okay in these apartments. For us, it's terrific that the problem that the owner wants to demolish this building, because where are we going to go?
At the beginning, it was a mass movement. It was a mass movement where you'd go to a meeting at Penmar Park, there'd be 100 people there or 200 people. You'd have to go down to Ruth Galanter's office in Westchester. 300 people would get on buses and go down there, because it was very important at that time to express the fear and the indignation that the people felt at the threat of losing their homes, their community. It was a mass movement.
Get the halls with landlord money, demolitions are not funny, the owner wants to take our home, we're gonna fight and we're not alone.
At the time I became involved, the organization was still fighting against the evictions. I had moved to Lincoln Place in 1988, August of '88, and one of the first things I saw on my door was some literature from the Tenants Association, so I thought, whoa, I moved into a live place, it's alive here.
And she immediately took the hook, and she wants to do a story next week, and when can we do it, and I want voices, and I want, let me see, and she went through her agenda of this week. She says, I can do it on Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, and can you get together a bunch of people? I want old people, I want young people, I want people with an accent, I want people, everybody.
Without an accent?
Without an accent?
New York accent.
Maybe a New York accent, yeah, I think so.
I don't have an accent.
No, you don't have an accent at all.
The backbone of our organization is seniors. Those are the people who come week in, week out, month in, year out, to meetings, to strategy sessions, to people who distribute flyers on the street to the various apartments, people who make phone calls, people who ride buses to City Hall. The backbone of the organization is senior citizens.
In the case of Mr. Merlino's assessment of, quote, functionally obsolete, quote, would fit nearly all of Venice. And yet many homeowners of dwellings dating to the 1920s are retrofitting instead of tearing down the buildings. Let's tear down all of Venice, Mr. Merlino. Let's have 10 years of above average noise, traffic, general inconvenience, and dirt, as well as a dislocation of a whole community of 15 people. Oh yeah!
He's mad.
As a private property and business owner, I believe that 5 years of careful consensus planning has created a development plan that is good for Venice and Los Angeles.
Not,
You think?
not.
The plan revitalizes an aging and deteriorating section of our community and respects the rights and needs of all concerned.
We made 2 offers to the owner over a period of a year. The first offer for $47 million, the second offer for $40 million after land values and property values had dropped in Los Angeles considerably. There was a series of legal correspondence between the owner's lawyers and our lawyers, and the owner refused to consider our offer seriously. He refused to name a price. He wouldn't counteroffer. It turned out, when our second offer turned out to be no longer a serious possibility, we had to shift gears again.
To date, more than 1,100 individuals and groups have sent letters to city officials in support of the plan.
Form letters.
Support letters have come from the Venice Area Chamber of Commerce, the Venice Action Committee, Lincoln Place Tomorrow, which is a group of Lincoln Place tenants who support the redevelopment, and the Penmar Neighborhood Association.
Boo, boo, boo.
Now we understood that if we didn't stop him from demolishing this place legally, if we didn't stop him at the city council level, he would continue to attempt to demolish the housing. And then he wouldn't take our negotiation, our offer, seriously until we had stopped him from demolishing the place.
My husband and I just make it now. We're 70 and 72 seniors. If the owner of Lincoln Place tears down these 800 units to build condos, we're out. The owner says we can be moved to one of 144 affordable units he will build first. These will be for seniors, single parents with small children, and disabled. How very kind of him. In his generosity, he's planning a 144-unit ghetto. That's ridiculous. Trucks and heavy equipment will be rolling through our ghetto for the 8 to 10 years it will take to demolish and rebuild. Why tear down our homes and disperse us to who knows where? Please listen, and feel what's happening to our homes. Please stop the destruction now before it begins. Yes. Stand up with these people.
This is the one community that I've ever lived in where I've been able to talk and communicate with my neighbors. I grew up in a neighborhood that looked like this and never spoke to any of my neighborhood neighbors my entire life. So this is the first community I've ever lived in where there have been people around that I have felt at home with.
And in all my 30 years of Venice, being a Venice resident, taxpayer, and working in the community, I've never heard of such a ridiculous thing, especially in this area and this time, to destroy homes and apartments that's people's homes. Especially, how can we tear down in Venice when we're trying to support building and getting more places for our elderly, for our disabled, for people that have lived here and who have a right to live here. You shouldn't tear anything down. You should improve.
I went down to the bankruptcy court because I heard that transaction was in bankruptcy. And what seems to me is happening is that transaction is taking a complex that pays at a good profit where everybody is happy, and it's going on a long shot bet that they're going to make even more money than that. They're taking no financial risks. But we in Venice are taking a big risk that they're going to go belly up on a really highly speculative venture. So here's what I learned. They were in Chapter 11 because they owed $36 million on a property that they bought for $29 million. The property brings in about $4 million a year, and that's enough to pay off the loan. but they've been bleeding Lincoln Place through insider transactions. They have none of their own money tied up in Lincoln Place, so that if any of these mortgage holders foreclosed, they could just walk away with whatever they've pocketed so far. The other thing I learned is that they have already, Transaction has already lost several properties to foreclosure. They've never developed a project as big as Lincoln Place.
30 seconds.
And they need a partner to carry this out. Okay, the final thing is they've been spending a lot of money on community support, community outreach. Their projections show they plan to cut off all spending for community outreach after 1994, when they expect to get their entitlements to redevelop. So do we want to trust our community to the kind of folks who brought us the SNL?
I do want to say this, that they talked about security behind bars. Believe me, people, security is a problem in Lincoln Apartments when we have the police chasing people with AK-47s through the apartment place. Now, this is just security. Now, I want to get to the housing department. I'm afraid of my fuse switch. Electricity, plumbing, water, the sewer system is not adequate. I have to flush my toilet 3 times to get the water to go down out into the main sewer. Now, this is not the kind of environment that I call homey.
30 seconds.
All right, I'll cap it all in one thing. I don't think there's one of us here that will lose a thing if they move into a decent apartment that has underground secure parking and has elevators to take the infirm up and down, and ramps to make sure, and the doors wide enough so that if they are in wheelchairs, that they can get in and out. And without completely tearing down these buildings, it can't hardly be done otherwise, because you would change the frame structure.
As the struggle changed from a fight against evictions to a fight for preservation and potential ownership of the complex, the nature of our movement changed dramatically.
Now, in terms of our purpose for going, we're very likely not gonna win this hearing. We're gonna come out of that room, and the guy who's the hearing officer is gonna say something like, this proposal is passed and the EIR is certified, and thank you all very much.
He's going to say that?
He's gonna say something like that.
Oh, where does Ruth Galata come in again?
Now,
Because.
He's going to say because it's adding, he'll probably say something like it's adding 55 units more than there was. It's going to upgrade the community. He's going to say things like that. Because this is what the planning department does. The mayor is putting a lot of pressure on them to pass everything, to build everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In that case, I think it is very important that something very spectacular, dramatic, be arranged to counter it, so that the press, but especially Mr. Coxeter and others, will know they got a big fight on their hands, and it will influence even people like Ruth and others. But it has to be in a very forceful. I don't mean to provoke a fight. I don't mean anything of that kind. That will not be effective. What will be effective might be throwing in the air a couple of hundred of that many people. The fight has just begun. Something like that. Just so that the spirit there is not in their hands of a victory.
A visual impact, I would like to tell you. Can you hear me, Ethel? I just ordered today stick-on labels in bright yellow that say, preserve Lincoln Place, and everybody that wants to preserve Lincoln Place will be wearing this sticker.
The only problem with numbers as a resource is that the folks that constitute your numbers, they work, they have kids, they have lives to conduct, they have an attitude that you can't fight City Hall.
We're here. We was waiting on you.
There's Bill out now. Hi, Bill. Hi, Bill. How you doing, Bill?
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown, listen to the music on the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. How can you lose? Now you know how sardines feel.
Recently released 1994 rental housing study indicated that the crisis in housing and rental housing continues to worsen. So we've got a 4 to 5 year pattern of prices getting worse. In 1990, nearly 200,000 LA families doubled and tripled up with other families. The 1994 rental housing update states overcrowding has increased significantly since 1990. There is no option for people in Los Angeles who are not currently on the Section 8 waiting list to get on. The waiting list was opened up in 1989. 80,000 people applied, after which they closed the list. They told me on the phone they may reopen it in 2001.
This is a very dangerous and misleading bit of evidence. They have no obligation to preserve in perpetuity, or even for 20 more years, these units. There's no legal force to require them to do that. All that we can require them to do under the sort of nexus standard that you're terribly well familiar with is to make sure they do no harm. They can't be required to do
What you can do, what you're required to do under the Subdivision Map Act, is to disapprove a project that doesn't comply with any element of the general plan, which includes the housing element.
Now you know that's what the city of Tigard did.
No, they impose conditions without an excess. You have to make an absolute finding that this project complies with the general plan. My contention is that it doesn't, and you cannot make that finding.
Those residents had to sit in this hearing, in this planning commission hearing, and listen to first our lawyer defending our position that we don't want this project at all. And then they had to sit and listen to the owner's lawyers defending the project with all of the information that he could give. And what they heard happening was the planning commission siding with the owner in the sense that the planning commission was preparing to accept the owner's proposal with conditions. Our folks hear that, and they don't understand all of the machinations that are going on behind the scenes with that. What it means that they're going to accept this with stringent conditions. What does that mean to the developer? Our folks don't always understand that. What they see happening is bureaucrats approving this owner demolishing their homes, and they lose hope.
And the only one I have to call is Sue Bennett, and that's about it. Sad but true. Everyone wants it to happen, but they don't want to make the effort of working with us. So, that's the way it is. Am I making it discouraging?
No.
By saying this?
No.
Okay.
It's realistic.
Yeah. Jenny Reef used to come all the time.
Mm.
Hey, Jason, how's my handsome friend? Doing fine? Huh? Okay. I'm much better, thank you. If you can come to the meeting, it's Wednesday at Stan's. I know. Okay, sweetheart.
I think that we have to win in City Council the denial of this project. I believe that anything short of winning denial of this project would be a defeat. Something that would be, it may turn out to be the best we can do, but I don't think so. I think we can do better. I think we can get the project denied. It's going to require an enormous push over the next few months, getting more letters to council, visits to council members, organizing constituents to come to the council meetings with us, making a lot of noise, getting things written about it. We just have to continue to build the movement and do our very best to get this project denied. It's hard for me to even see beyond that, because I can picture what's going to happen. The only way it could fall back into our hands at that point is if the owner actually does go back into bankruptcy when his balloon payments are due in 1997 or 98. But by then, how many more of our folks will have died, will have had to give up housekeeping for lack of the physical ability to continue? It would be very sad. The original folks who know the whole history of this movement gradually dying out, and new folks moving in, signing a waiver at the very beginning that they know their tenancy will be short, they know this community is slated for demolition. So it would be hard to get folks who really want to settle in and sink roots and dig in and stay put, which is what builds community.
This room is full of people who have passed out flyers, made phone calls, come to steering committee meetings year after year, and been extremely dedicated. In fact, just so that we can see, everybody who's ever passed out flyers, made a phone call, come to a steering committee meeting, has taken a ride on a bus to City Hall. Would you please stand up? All right.
I'm sort of between churches and campaign coffees at this moment, but I did want to stop by. And I want to urge you to keep going. This is going to be a fight all the way down to the last vote in the city council, and who knows what they'll try after that.
I too have a dream. I dream all the bickering and hurt feelings that have been generated at this time would disappear, so we can get on and agree that no one's out to do under the tenants of Lincoln Place. I have a dream.
But we have other people that want to be heard too. You can't take all 15 minutes, you know.
Sir, you don't even know some of the people's names. I think I can continue in 2 minutes. I have a dream that party support in trying to please everyone will not cloud the issue, and that you, the city council people, who are in agreement that this is not an impossible dream that I have, but one that will show that the city of Los Angeles lives up to its television ideas that this is a good place, that they will support us. And you, as your spokespeople, will show that a fair and just decision-making body is still viable. My dream is so close, and my heart feels that you will pay attention, so that all I ask you to say is that you too have dreams for Los Angeles, backed by practical needs, so go for it, and let's have Lincoln Place tomorrow.
If Lincoln Place is as bad as Transaction says it is, we all would have had to leave long ago. If the apartments are so bad, how come the Sunday LA Times classified, they claim that the apartments are in excellent move-in condition, and people are still renting and moving into them? This demolition and reconstruction is only about profit, obscene amounts.
For more than 5 years, members of our group have met and studied the proposals of both the Lincoln Place Tenants Association and the Transaction Company's plan. We concluded that the owner's compromise plan was the most viable and realistic of any put forth up to this moment.
For the past 20 years, my husband David and I have lived in our home adjacent to Lincoln Place. For us and many of our Penmar neighbors, along with numerous community organizations, Lincoln Place is not just apartments. It is a community within a community. What this project will do is cause the irreplaceable and unmitigated loss of affordable housing and my good neighbors, the Lincoln Place tenants. As it is the goal of the housing element to preserve a sense of community by safeguarding the existing housing stock, I would urge that the City Council adopt the motion of the Planning Committee.
The committee unanimously voted to deny this particular project, and I would urge the council to support that. I would move the committee report plus the amendment which I submitted today for clarification of the findings.
Well, if we're ready to go, then let's vote on it. I want to second Mr. Bernson's motion. I want to point out that this has not been an easy decision, nor has it been an easy project for anybody, regardless of their points of view. And as you've heard, there are many people whose hopes and dreams don't seem to come out exactly the same way. But I believe that the magnitude of the proposed demolition is sufficient in itself to scare the living daylights out of us in the Venice community. And the loss of that many rental units, particularly those that are not at the top end of the rental market, is something for the city to be concerned about. Certainly in the aftermath of the earthquake, we learned once again how important it is to have a supply of housing that's available to people who may be in unexpected need. I would like to tell you that it has been an agonizing several years of trying to resolve this. I stand firm in my recommendation in support of the committee report granting the appeal of the Lincoln Place Tenants Association, and I respectfully request your unanimous support. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone else want to be heard on this? If not, we have Mr. Bernson's motion. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, please, will you, thank you. Will you go outside and cheer all you want, but please, we still have the council meeting.
I just almost cried.
Mr. President, council members.
I'm so happy. Oh, God, isn't it wonderful? It's such a good feeling to keep on getting it our way because we deserve it. We really deserve it. We have worked from 1987. 1987 we've worked on this.
Is that exciting or what? So exciting. So exciting. It's such a like coup for the city, you know? Such a victory for the city in its image of itself, you know? As a good place, you know?
I would like a bungalow here, just for the feeling of a house. Yeah, one of my friends has one.
The trees are prettier, the sky is
Here we go
bluer.
again.
It mentions the same thing that they all spouted all along.
I'm Ruth Fullscreen, and I heard about it yesterday, and I'm just waiting to hear.
See, this meeting originally was called because we were going to get to bask in our victory, right? We were going to sit in a leisurely fashion, and we were going to sort of, you know, make some plans for the future, you know. That was our first choice.
Yeah.
Our second choice is apparently to deal with these evictions.
What Jim Bertolini said, that in the first contract, in the first propositions that he proposed to, you know, to build the condos and the affordable housing and all that, everybody would have had housing and be moved within the complex. But now that it was shut down by the city council, they're not guaranteeing anything.
Right, which sounds just like he sounds in the paper. We told you, look out, we're gonna get you.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
You'd think that people with that much money could rise above that level.
Yeah, but if they get these permits and they're able to evict us and tear down, then what have we won? We're back to square one. We haven't won anything.
Well, neither have they if they tear it down and they don't have any permits to do anything. So
we'll be talking to our lawyer about the eviction defense, and we will stop you from being evicted because we believe we have grounds for stopping the eviction because it is retaliatory. He claims it's not. We claim it is. We think we have a strong case.
The newspapers is saying it.
But I want to remind you of, again, I alluded to this earlier, in 1987. Now I moved in 88. But I have known a lot of you for many years now, and you've told me every detail of what happened in 87, so it's like as if I was there. In 87, people received an eviction notice. There were no laws to protect you from those evictions. But it was 300 people strong, most of them seniors, who went to Westchester, talked to the councilwoman, and everybody swung into action, and you folks who were here at that time were protected from those evictions. It took 2 years, but that type of eviction is no longer legal. Okay, laws change. People make laws, people change laws. We did it before, we can do it again.
All we are saying is give me the
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Hi, darling. How are you?
So those of us who are fighting on year after year and are going to take it to the wall, we're only doing it because we have a vision of what could be created here afterwards. If we win this place, there are things we can do that can make life not only livable but pleasurable for the lower half of the economic population, those folks who are never going to own housing in the traditional way. They're not going to ever own a single-family dwelling, but as part owners in a resident-controlled place, they can have some control over their destiny and over how their kids grow up and over the fact that they have a stable neighborhood where they don't move from place to place. They can actually build bonds, build friendships, relax, enjoy life. That's how we see it.
If this place is to be demolished and fixed up for the rich after we are gone, after we are dead, the children of today and of tomorrow will not forgive us. Let's talk about this openly, face to face. Building instead of destroying. Let's stop here in Venice and reject the use of demolition and eventual eviction and begin to take care of our own Venice homeless. Take care of us, the future homeless, if we let them get away with demolishing our homes now. Mrs. Ethel Shapiro Bertolini. You can use my name if you want. They can't do any more damage than they have already done.
The future's ours, we'll organize and build community. We'll take what's gone and put it back, and that's humanity. We'll live our dreams and we will find a better way to be. We will win, we will own Lincoln Place. One of these days we will strive, we will own Lincoln Place. The future's ours, we'll organize and build community. We'll take what's gone and put it back, and that's humanity. We'll live our dreams and we will find a better way to be. We will win, we will own Lincoln Place. One of these days we will strive, we will own Lincoln Place. Come join us, come help us to say Lincoln Place. What you do and all you do is just participate. To keep the land on which we stand, don't wait till it's too late. We will win.